Welcome back to another episode of True Wealth Conversations, and I am your host, Dominique Broadway, and I am super excited about today's podcast because I have one of my favorite people on the earth here with me, Mr. Abu Fofanah. How are you today?
Yes, first of all, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I'm excited to be here, and it's always great because I've been telling you for a long time, like, Dom, you need to have a podcast because people need to hear the conversations that you're having already. Yeah. And so I'm super excited to be on this show.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So I have known Abu for how many years now?
I don't know. It's been a few years.
Yeah, I want to say at least 6, 7 years, maybe.
Yeah.
I believe we've known each other for about 6, 7 years. And when, I first met him, he was really trying to help me start running ads and helping me to really define my business and my courses and give me a lot of ideas. And, it's been amazing just to see him in his own respective journey, how he, kind of started helping people as individual clients and now growing to create this amazing, online education source or resource for entrepreneurs and business owners like myself that he's been able to impact tens of thousands of business owners' lives and helping those people make hundreds of millions of dollars, y'all. So, Abu, can you just tell everyone, I could talk about you for an hour without you saying a thing, but can you tell everyone a little bit about you and like how you got started and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah. So that was actually a really good intro. Sometimes when people are intro, I'm like, dang, I did do that. My name is Abu Fofanah, and the way I see myself and the way people see me is kind of different. Like, I see myself as someone who is extremely hardworking, that's been given opportunities, and I've been able to walk through those doors to really capitalize on those opportunities. So there's nothing extraordinary. I wasn't, born with a hate. Like, there's nothing extraordinary. It was someone who was just willing and dedicated to the craft and working extremely hard. How other people see me now is as a digital marketer, someone who understands paid advertisements, someone who knows how to grow online and sell products and services online. And so I'm the founder of Power Your Launch, which is an online marketing accelerator that trains business owners, whether you're a product or service-based business, how to run ads in order to grow, drive visibility and sales online. So that's how people see me, and that's how I see myself, which is always interesting because, you don't see yourself a lot of times how other people see you.
So true.
But I wonder sometimes, should you see yourself or should you act how they see you? Because it's always this conflicting thing. So that question is always hard for me to answer.
Interesting. So I want to take it back real quick. How did you everyone sees you as one, I would say one of the top, if not top, digital marketers, in the world. That's what I would say. But how did you get there? Like, how did you even get into this digital marketing space? What was that journey like for you? Yeah,
so the journey started a long time ago. When I was in high school, I was kind of weird in a way. Every summer, I'd always try to learn new things. And that summer, it just so happened to be ads. I never knew how it would play, into my future. It was just something that I had started. I remember back when I was in college, I was trying to sell these t-shirts that I had. I was running a clothing brand called MOAP, which stood for Motivational Apparel, MOAP. I wasn't creative, so I was just like, let's just take the MO, the AP, call it MOAP. But the issue was whenever people read it, they were like, Mope. What kind of inspiring brand is Mope? I'm like, no, it's MOAP. It's MOAP. Like, MOAP is MOAP.
It's like moping around. It's actually kind of sad.
And so I was trying to figure out a way when I was in college, how do I sell to people that aren't on my campus? How do I sell to people that are on the other coast and other part of the world? And then I got back in advertisement. So that was really my reintroduction back into digital marketing and saying, well, if I could run these ad campaigns to people in LA and I'm on the East Coast and I'm making sales, I don't have to physically be there.
Yeah.
And so my journey started, selling clothes out of my dorm room, then selling clothes online. And by the time I was 18, 19, I had 16 employees.
Wow.
I was taking like 30 credits a semester.
Wow.
And working 2 jobs, and I was running this whole business, and people thought I was this gigantic business, but it was just me in my dorm room.
Wow.
And so that was my start of really understanding the power of advertisement. And then I thought deeper, and I'm like, okay, social media is in its infancy stages.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens over the next 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my professors told me that social media was a fad.
Mm-hmm.
It won't last long.
Yeah.
And so when I started looking, I was like, but what if it does?
Mm-hmm.
If it does, and I'm still persistent, learning every day the skill set, what can I do in 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
And so my start was just a clothing brand, which taught me everything I knew about business and selling online and digital marketing. But that was where I started with advertisement, really understanding, okay, this could take me far because it's doing it right now. I'm in college, I'm making $4K a month, $5K, $10,000, $15,000 a month. As a college student, 18, 19 years old, I would even go to the bars sometimes and I'd pay for everyone. They'd be like, who paid? No one knew. So I wasn't the typical college student, but I knew I was onto something, but I had no one confirming it around me. This was just me guessing that maybe this thing will be big in the next few years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So from going there to launching your course, right? Which started out as just a course.
Yeah.
To where you are now. What was that journey from like, okay, I realized I'm good at this digital marketing thing. I'm going to kind of package my genius. What did that look like?
Yeah, and it's funny because in the beginning, I didn't even think I was that good, because the people around me were talking, say, this thing won't last, right?
Yeah.
Is what you're doing legal? And I'm like, what you mean? I'm just putting in Facebook and Instagram ads. And so it discouraged me. And I remember my professors used to say, you need to go to the career fair and get like a real job. And I was like, okay, maybe, these are people I look up to. Maybe let me listen to their advice. So I go get a real job. I started working in corporate and I knew like that's not what I wanted to do. So I remember one of my friends was like, hey, I'm trying to sell my stuff online. I was like, oh, did you use ads before? She's like, no, I don't know what to do. I was like, well, let me run some ads for you. And at this time, they were making about $500 a month. So they went over the next 90 days to make $100,000 when I started doing ads for them.
Wow.
And then they were like, wow, you're really good at this thing. I'm like, you think so? I was like, you think so?
You still didn't believe it.
Right. I was like, you think so? I was like, okay, maybe like I'll start an agency. And at first I transitioned to an agency. I started helping so many business owners, product, service-based businesses. And then it came to the point where I replaced my income from my job, and I was like, okay, I feel more comfortable.
And what job were you at that time?
And at that time, I was working over on Wall Street, and I was doing a product manager. We were building out software and et cetera. And I was making good money. I was making over 6 figures. I was living in Dumbo, in a penthouse. Look, I was living good, you know what I'm saying? So, I would help people out for free. Sometimes I don't even need the money, right? Yeah. But then when I knew I wanted to leave my job because I wasn't being fulfilled, and that's when I first realized no amount of money, will fulfill you if you're unhappy at that place.
Yeah, so true.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to leave. And everyone around me thought I was crazy giving up 6 figures. Yeah. It was I was the first in my family to make 6 figures. In my neighborhood, right? Like I walk around my neighborhood, that's a 6-figure guy, right? Like that man made 6 figures. And so,
he has made it.
And so it took time to realize how good I was with advertisement. And then my cap came when I couldn't help more than 30 people with doing my agency. And I said, okay, now it feels like I'm working back on Wall Street because I'm spending 100 hours, trying to help 30 companies, but I want to help more. Then I decided, what can I do now? And I said, what if I taught people how to do it themselves? And that began to transition into launching a course where I could help 1,000, 10,000 people, and there's no cap to my time and how I help them.
Okay, so you launched this course, and now you're able to start, instead of just helping 20, 30 entrepreneurs at a time, now you're able to help thousands.
Yeah.
So with that, helping thousands also brings on a wave of wealth.
Yeah.
Right? What was that like, right? Because, obviously now you're making way more than six figures, right? You're having six-figure days instead of six-figure years. How was that for you mentally? Because I know even you mentioned earlier that it doesn't matter how much money you're making if you're not happy. But what was that like for you when you really realized that, wow, what I used to make in a year, I've made in a day?
I think that it was what's funny is like you set this goal, and when you're working towards this goal, you don't even realize you passed it. And I think for me, when I made six figures in a day or seven figures, etc., you start thinking about, okay, what can I you keep aiming higher and higher.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who's not a celebratory person, meaning you celebrate every moment, it could just pass you by, and that's what it did. It passed me by. But how I was feeling at that time when I made my first seven figures is like, that was the most depressed I'd ever been that year. Like, I didn't know what to do. I mean, no one in my family had done it.
Yeah.
No one in my neighborhood. So I'm trying to figure out what I need to do with this capital, and I keep giving it away because I think that, okay, well, maybe this is enough. Let me give it away now.
It's almost like it's too much. It's
more
than
much.
I need.
Yeah,
So
let me give it away. And so for me, it was the most challenging time because I had no one to talk to, and I felt super alone. And how people saw me again and how I saw myself was two completely different. People would tell me when I would try to express my emotions, they're like, "What do you got to complain about? Right? You're making all this money." And I'm like, no, but what I'm trying to tell you, it's not the money, it's these other things that are bothering me. And so it was really hard to deal with navigating. And with that came a lot of things, right? Like you're giving out money to people that, you thought were there for you, even including family members. Your phone is constantly ringing. People are always asking for something. 95% of my calls are like asked around financial. So I completely went on do not disturb, and I'm always on do not disturb. And then you have other things, your mindset, right? Your money mindset. I grew up in a very poor neighborhood, so as I was making more money, you could either start spending it all, or you don't know if it's going to last forever, so you don't spend nothing at all.
Yeah.
And so there were just so many emotions that I was having as I was making money that I don't think that I was really understanding the magnitude of what I had. I knew the impact I was making, and I loved the impact side, but when it came to the visibility side or the money side, that was always a challenge through it all.
You almost kind of wanted to shy away.
I always wanted to shy away. And even what we do is, in order to encourage other people, we are transparent about our numbers.
Yeah.
But we do that to inspire, to encourage other people. But that also comes with a backlash.
Yes, and even that's hard. I talked about this too. Like even when I hit some of my big milestones, how I didn't even want to tell anyone because I didn't want people calling me, asking for stuff. And, I just didn't want to, I didn't want that.
Right.
And so I think a lot of times, especially as people of color, like those are those things that we have to deal with. And a lot of times people of other races not all other races, but especially, Caucasian culture, you may not have to deal with, right? Maybe because you came from money, or even if not, but those are things that they're sometimes in other cultures, like they're just used to the wealth. It's like the norm. Yeah. And so when you're getting these, like you said, you're the six-figure man, and now you're the seven-figure man. And, I did a tweet this morning I was reviewing, and I was like, wow, I am officially an eight-figure CEO, and it was like, wow. And I said, I'm going to tweet this because I am proud. Like, I am proud to say that as a Black woman, as a mom, as a, just as a person that didn't come from millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? So what did you do? What did you do? And I'm asking, what did you do? Because I think a lot of times people, they want to be where we are.
Yeah.
they want to be where we are. They want to be millionaires. They want to be wealthy. And like you're saying, when you were going through other challenges and you were expressing to people like, yes, I made $1 million, but I'm depressed. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled or whatever. They almost think you're crazy. They're like, what the hell is wrong with you? You have millions of dollars. Go buy happiness. Right. And you can't buy happiness. Now, I will say, money helps.
It does help. It definitely helps.
But it does not completely fulfill you.
No.
So what have you done to create... Well, I guess the first question is, what does wealth mean to you? That's the first question I like that. What does wealth mean to you?
Yeah, so I think if you asked me a few years ago, wealth would have just meant monetary gain alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How much can I make? Therefore, I have wealth. Mm-hmm. I think now, if you ask me, sometimes you have to go through it to realize, wealth is also the lifestyle where you are mentally.
Yeah.
It's more than just money. Money can help those situations, can massage those situations, but wealth is just, I'd rather, I'd rather be, wealthier in my habits, in my routine, in my mindset, in my internal spirit. Some days I contemplate, would I rather do that or have all the monetary gain and not have that? And so wealth is transformed. The meaning of wealth is transformed, where to me now it's more than the monetary. It's about the lifestyle and the mindset and the spirit. Where is it at in relations to, what you're building, in relations to who you are. Yeah.
That's good. So when do you feel wealthiest?
I think now I feel wealthiest when I'm surrounded by like-minded spirits and mindset, where I'm in the room and we're, especially when it's like your day ones, people you've been building with, and you could talk about these things and not feel judged. You could talk about these things and be your truest self because you know that there's a level of home and comfortability around these individuals. So that's when I feel wealthiest now, the phase that I'm in. The other phase is every now and then I'm reminded, like, when I'm at the airport and I'm like, I don't want to deal with this, like, just put me in first class, right? And so, like, those moments, it's like, oh, I have the ability to.
Yeah.
I have the ability. I didn't have the ability to do that before, but now I have the ability. So, there are those moments, or like when something happens, my mom, something happened, the roof at the house, and you have the ability to.
Yeah.
And so it's like that emotional feeling, and also I could do this. Like I can, pay for it. I don't have to eat, pizza every other night, right? Like, I could do 4 toppings if I wanted to,
fancy 4 toppings. And that's expensive.
It is. No, people don't know. It is. And so the ability to do things for yourself and for others, are also moments where I feel wealthiest as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. I would say even, some of the moments where I feel wealthiest is, I would say even the last couple of years, even having you as a friend, right? And you even having like the financial resources to come and support me and my family. Like Abu has been at, Dawson's birthday parties and I think baby showers and all of our birthdays. A few weeks ago we're in LA for Dion's birthday and he's there. We're in Costa Rica for my birthday and he's there. And when I sometimes, just like what you said, even when we were in Costa Rica, it was like a 2-week notice and I had like 16 friends that flew in, and I remember just sitting there just looking around like, wow. This is wealth, not just because we're in Costa Rica, but because these people drop what they're doing to come and celebrate me and my life. But also, I felt wealthy and grateful that I was able to attract all of you guys, right? To even want to be around me, and that I'm able to attract like-minded people that are successful in their own rights or wealthy in their own rights, and we're all here together. Right? And then it turns into this, for me, just like almost another wealthy mastermind. The conversations that we're having, which is why even we name this True Wealth Conversations, like the conversations that we're having, I say even the conversations we have now are nothing like the conversations we were having 7 years ago, right? Now we're talking about, how do we reduce our taxes? How do we, buying real estate? We're talking about, moving hundreds of thousands here, donating to each other's nonprofits, right? It's different conversations. And these are conversations that for most of us, like I said, we don't come from families where these types of conversations were, one, normal, or two, they didn't even have the resources to have these conversations because they were just getting by. So those are some of the things that make me feel, personally feel very, very wealthy. And a lot of that even comes just, from having amazing friends like you. So with that being said, like you've created all this, you're making your millions. Now, like what is next? Like as someone who has taken your course, Power Your Launch. And it's funny because I remember a couple years ago, I think Dawson, our oldest daughter, was just being born. And so I had some downtime. And Dion and I, we decided, to get into Power Your Launch. And it's funny because, Dion, when he goes in, he goes in. Okay. So we're literally watching. That's all we're watching. There's no other shows we're watching. We're literally only watching Abu's videos. That's it. Okay. So all day, every day, we wake up in the morning, boom, module 1. We're literally going through. And so it's funny. I was joking. I said, Dawson's going to be like, so familiarized with Abu's voice because she was hearing it all day long, and we just dove in and learned as much as we could. And it was funny, even when you did come over, she just kind of looked like, that voice sounds really familiar, right? Because when she was younger, but I was able to go in and him and just become a student and understand how ads work. And for us, it was a huge game changer. Now we don't run our own ads anymore because our business is way too big. But I would say when we first started running ads, because we did take Power Your Launch, we knew what was happening. Right? We were able to hire someone and talk that they were talking. And so it just made us feel more comfortable bringing this person on. One, knowing that they knew what they were talking about because I knew as well. And then I also had the ability to go in and see if my ads were performing well without them having to tell me, right? And even making suggestions like maybe you should do this or make sure the pixel's firing or, the audiences and things like that and retargeting and, all those things we got to learn in the course. So I thank you for that. And it has been a huge help. And I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, like we don't have to know every single thing, but in our business, but it is nice to be educated when you're hiring other people to even do the job because you can immediately see if they're doing something right or wrong. So we definitely thank you for that. So now you have Power Your Launch. Like I said, you've helped tens of thousands of entrepreneurs to make hundreds of millions of dollars, which should not be taken lightly. Like if I had a hat, I would definitely take it off for you because that's major.
No, cheers to your 8 figures too.
Yes, cheers to that. So, but tell me, like, what is next? One, what is next for you and the whole Power Your Launch, company? Yeah. But also, as entrepreneurs, what do you see that we should be focusing on or looking for as we're marketing online?
Yeah. So for me, so the first question, what's next for Power Your Launch? Mm-hmm. It's been interesting because that is a question that I've been trying to figure out myself, whether I need to do in-person things because you build such a large community that people are everywhere. So you start asking, do I need to do in-person things?
And I know they're asking for it. They're like, Abu, come here. Abu, come there. Right. I know, I've been telling you to do retreats. I'm like, do a retreat.
You've been telling me for years, like, you need to do a retreat. And so, so that's definitely on my radar, on my mind, as well as, I know there are also entrepreneurs that are, starting to grow and are also struggling in their growth, right? And so that's pretty interesting to me too right now.
That's big.
And so I'm considering all things. And as I talk to a lot of my students, I literally see behind their business, and I can see the gaps, and I can see the mental challenges that they're having, and the marketing challenges they're having, and the hiring challenges that they're having. And so it's really interesting because I feel like I'm back when I first started. I'm just trying to figure things out and get a feel for things. So, I'm trying to figure out which direction I want to take Power Your Launch. And I'm looking at like partnering with a lot of VC companies. In their portfolio, they have these companies, but none of them know marketing. And so they're hiring and spending thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars each month. And a lot of their budget that they get, a lot of these companies that receive VC money, they have to spend it on marketing. And so but they don't know what they're doing. They're hiring agents. So I'm like, wait a second, there's a gap here as well. So how can I go and fill that gap? So that's something I'm looking into. Now, in terms of marketing itself and what people should look for, I think we're moving into this space right now where content is going to become really, really important. I think in the past, when you would tell people, hey, you need to know how to market online, they would create a social media account and they would think they checked the box off. Like, okay, well, I got a social media.
That's the easiest part.
I am online. Right. And I'm like, no, it takes more to be online. You need to be engaged online. And you need to be engaged differently depending on the platform. So I think what people need to realize is that when I hear a brand, I'm finding their Instagram before their website.
Yeah, that's so true. And even nowadays when we're getting connected to people, be like, oh, I'm going to send you their Instagram.
Right, correct.
You know, it's almost like the new business card. Would you agree?
Yeah. So I would say, you have to spend time being engaged online and investing in the content that you're creating and where you're taking people and being intentional about, your investments on your social media. But I think that's where most people should focus their efforts. Now, if you're someone who's already focused your efforts on there, right? So again, we have the people that aren't focusing their efforts, but the people who already are focused their efforts on there, I think they need to create more content with intention. It's cool posting, the viral stuff, right? But I don't know if, the Will Smith thing is always going to help your brand, right? The viral moments don't always help your brand because they may not be intentional to your audience. So what intentional content am I posting to really resonate with my audience to start a conversation with them? And then if you want to take it a step further, as you begin to grow, start looking at ways to advertise online. Because scale, there's a difference between growing, right, and scaling.
Yeah, very different.
And scaling, you need advertisement, you need partnerships, you need these additional things that you're either going to have to outsource for, but it's really good when you understand what you're outsourcing for. But I think that's what I would advise for someone who hasn't been engaged on social media, someone who has been engaged on social media. It's okay, now it's time to create more intentional content. Start thinking about paid advertisement and where you're leading your customers to and building really an engaged online community.
That's good. I like that. And where are you doubling down on? Some people are going to the metaverse, TikTok, YouTube's back popping.
Yeah.
Where are you personally doubling down?
So me personally, I like YouTube. I'm talking about so in terms of paid advertisement, I like all the platforms: YouTube, Google, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, which is coming
Pinterest?
Pinterest is good. Okay. Pinterest is good. Where I'm finding most conversion is Facebook and Instagram, even for retargeting purposes. So I would use Pinterest as a top of funnel.
Okay.
I would use, TikTok as top of funnel, meaning you are gaining their email addresses or phone numbers, their information. But when I'm still finding Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Google are the strongest when it comes to conversions, right? Getting them to actually buy. They're the strongest. So I'm doubling down on for organic, YouTube organic, because YouTube organic is a longevity game, right? Right now, you may be putting out videos and it's getting 40 people viewing it. But trust me when I tell you, it's longevity. And then one thing I love about YouTube is that the content is sort of evergreen. Because YouTube, you go in there to search something. It doesn't matter if the video was there 8 years ago. You're going to watch it if it's the solution to what you're searching for. And so YouTube is really great in that way. Podcasting is great. Podcasting, though, the one difference between podcast and YouTube is that with podcasts, it's harder to find the content. You have to scroll down. Or you have to have it linked on your website where you create a library for it. But podcasting is great for sponsorship, right? What segment are you talking to? You can get the sponsorship. YouTube is great, evergreen content. And then I'm just doubling down on advertisement. Right now, I know you and I were talking about TikTok ads. TikTok ads are cheapest conversions by far, top of funnel. But still, conversions it's the Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, Google that have the highest conversion rate still. So that's where I'm doubling down in terms of content, intention, time, investment. Is just like in the digital advertisement space and also the organic space as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. So for those entrepreneurs out there, you're like, look, I got my website up. I'm officially a business owner. Please understand that is the easiest part of the business. The real work and the thing that's going to help you grow and then eventually scale is really marketing. Marketing is honestly marketing and sales is the most important part of your business. And people don't like salespeople, but at the end of the day, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a salesperson because if I'm not selling, I'm failing. If no one's buying, there is no business, right? If it's just you and your mama utilizing your candles, honey, you don't have a business. You just made a candle for your mama.
It's a great project, right? It's a great project.
It's a great fun project to do. But
you have to market. Yeah. You have to market your business. I don't care, but I don't want people to, let them unfollow you.
Let them unfollow. And let the people, because they weren't going to buy from you anyway.
They were not. Marketing, and you just brought something, marketing is the seasoning, right? Building a website is not enough. I could go and buy, some chicken or some meat, but just because I have it and I cook it and I eat, that don't mean that it's gonna taste the same when you put that seasoning on there. When you put that seasoning on it, you're like, all right, it tastes different.
Put that Lawry's on it.
It tastes real different now, and that's what the marketing does. You have to invest in your marketing, no matter who you are, where you are in your business. You have to invest in your marketing.
I love that. All right. So for those of you who have not invested into your marketing, please go check out Power Your Launch. It's poweryourlaunch.com. Honestly, I compare it to almost getting an MBA because honestly, it's such an in-depth program. It's not an overnight thing. It's going to take you time to go through the content, but you're going to be so well versed and your business is going to be so equipped to grow and to start scaling by using marketing techniques that have been tested on tens of thousands of entrepreneurs, myself included. He uses these same techniques himself. So thank you again for tuning in to another episode of True Wealth Conversations. Please, before we do that, is there any closing words that you want to say before we wrap it up? Any closing words?
No, one, thank you for having me on the podcast. I truly appreciate it. And thank you for always, being welcoming to me and, always taking me under your wing. I'm learning so much from you since I met you to now. I still don't know how you do it. You have all these multiple businesses, you have kids, you got a husband, you got family, you got people counting on you, and it's just different. And you have to have a level, one, you have to really know yourself to understand your capacity on what you can hold. And so you're teaching me a lot. So thank you for that. And entrepreneurship, again, it's, as you begin to grow, it's really important that you have a level of community around you. Yeah. And I think that's where, the real growth takes place, is in the conversations with the community that you have at that point. I love it. And real quick, so everyone can thank you again for that. Instagram. Oh yeah, Instagram. I'm at Abu Fofanah. That's ABUFOFANAH. At Twitter, I'm at the Abu Fofanah. And then my website, again, you can go to poweryourlaunch.com. Click the link in my bio, DM me if you have any questions. And that's all I got. And we'll have all his information in the show notes. And where you at on TikTok? Oh, TikTok. Someone took my username, but on TikTok, I'm at Who is Abu. Who is Abu? Like that. It was different. It was before it was I need a boo. Okay. But I was like, let me change this. Okay, I see how. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And I was then it was peekaboo. That's selling a different type of service. I was like, okay, Who is Abu? Right. That service might get you shut down. Right. As they will not approve those ads. Exactly. All right. Well, thank you again, Abu, for tuning in. Please make sure you go to poweryourlaunch.com and check out his amazing marketing accelerator. And also, follow him on Abu Fofanah and on Instagram. We'll put all the links in the show notes and below. And I will see you in the next episode of True Wealth Conversations. And once again, I'm your host, Dominique Broadway.